Oh, hello, Facebook.
Hello, everybody.
And hello to our viewers in the recorded version of this live stream. This is Book of Hours. I'm JP.
I'm Julie.
And today we're talking to Brandi Ann, an activist we met on Facebook through our network.
Connections.
And our connections. She recently spoke at a council meeting at her local community, municipality, whatever county.
She addressed her commissioners.
Yeah, the commissioners. Yeah. And this is something that we want to support and bring to light, because a lot of times people don't know what to do. And something simple like this is, it feels daunting and it feels difficult, but it's something that you can do. And as we get into the conversation, we'll talk about why it's important for people to do these kinds of things. Not everybody can get out into the streets. Julie and I were talking today that, Pittsburgh has very few opportunities for protests and things like that. And we're propagandists. We are media makers. And that's sort of our way of working. But we're not in a position to organize people here. But we would certainly join if there was something, around.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's really doing anything in Pittsburgh. That's why we thought it was so important that we bring Brandi on to talk about, what led her to her decision. So why don't we just go ahead and bring her on?
Okay, great.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Brandi.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
So, I went to my commissioner meeting. This was my third time going. So
Wow.
The first time we went, it was kind of in I think it was maybe November, and it was about the CARES funding, and our mayor had given $11 million or something to this guy at Majorca Enterprises, and it was for our small businesses. And when I Googled Majorca, I had realized that it was the same guy that had donated to his campaign, and I was like, that's funny. That guy didn't need all the money, there's other companies in our county that need the money. And
Right.
it was Office Depot and other ones were upset about it. And so I was just I'm just going to go there and talk to them and talk about human trafficking, because that's another thing that I do for advocacy. And he didn't even, it was talking to somebody that didn't even care. He was just I said, did you know about the CARES funding and, the small businesses that needed it? And he wouldn't even answer me. And he said, you have 1 minute, ma'am. And I was like, all right. So now I get the idea of how he's going to respond to me every time I go there. And so after that, I kind of just went there and I just let him have it, because it was he's not going to listen to us. They kind of make all their decisions anyway before they walk in there. And then, it's they don't really care to hear our voice. Online, they talk about us online on their personal Facebooks, and they call us they call us names and everything right
Really?
out in the public. That we can see. And so it's
Wow.
they called us a bunch of a-holes. I don't know if I want to come up it. It was really? You know what I mean? Really?
These are public servants, right?
These are your public servants that are talking to you in this manner after you have addressed, where's the money going? Where's the,
They just think we're a joke, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I was okay, this guy, clearly he was a police officer and his brother is also a judge. So he's kind of, he's not worried about anything really, because he has people.
He's
And
protected.
last time I was there, I said, it's not the officer's job to enforce the law. It's not even really their job to enforce executive orders. And I told him to stop acting like a king, because he's not. And I said, getting, police to do your bidding is considered a mercenary and a press gang. So,
Wow.
what you're doing to us is wrong. I mean, my friends that have showed up there, they've had detectives come to their house and intimidate them. Yeah, we're in Palm Beach County. So, I mean, that's where Epstein was. They got away with everything there. So, I mean, that's pretty much the entire attitude when you walk in there, is they don't care what you have to say. But I don't go for them anymore. I basically go for other people that don't know what's going on, because
Right.
I feel like like they're not going to care, they're not going to change anything. But if we had more people, they might.
Right.
Like if we had more people showing up to the meetings, like they would have to do something about it. But
Right.
I try to be just the person to try to get everybody to go, and try to inspire them to do it, because we have to hold them accountable. I mean, they work for us, and I think they forget that on a daily basis.
They do, yeah, and I agree. There's two things to that. I mean, two things that I'd like to address to that. I remember years and years ago, this is decades ago, somebody that I knew worked at one point for the state of California, and he told me back then, that the politicians, the people who are in the leadership, who are voted in, they act like they don't work for us. They don't act like they need to be accountable to us until it's ready, for election time again, right? And then they
Right.
say all the right things to get everybody to behind them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, we experienced something similar to you in our local municipality here, and we were talking to some neighbors. We're new to this community here, and so we didn't really know a lot of people, but we were talking to a local neighbor, and she was that was a cat.
Oh.
your cat's beautiful, by the way. We saw photos of her.
Yeah, you have a pretty cat.
Yeah. Ours is tucked away
Around
somewhere. Yeah,
somewhere.
she's probably sleeping on my clothes somewhere. Anyway, we were talking to a neighbor, and she grew up here, and she knew some of these council people, and she ended up getting a text from one of the council people that was intended to go to somewhere else, and she was actually complaining about the woman who received the text behind her back, and then basically calling her names like what you just talked about.
Right.
And it's like these two women grew up together. They went to high school together. They they knew each other outside of and so they still have that contemptuous attitude
towards constituents,
right?
And civilians,
and we've received it as well for some of the things we've been trying to do. But
right.
So I completely understand where you're coming from. So moving out to educate people out in the community is probably a better move, because as we know, working in groups as opposed to solo is certainly more effective especially in these situations.
Right.
Where I'm at, we actually have like a good group of people right now. Like there's a lot of people that had a problem with the masks, and it went viral. Even like I think it was like The View picked it up, and they were like hating on all the people that were like talking about the masks, and like but though that's but that's like what we need is like people to actually look at it and see what's going on, because people may not show up to it, and they may not want to sit there, but they'll watch the thing online for like 3 minutes. I mean,
right.
And that's how we basically reach people. And like, now we're segregated. We have to go into a different building, and like, it's just like a whole bunch of nonsense. But I mean,
right.
That's my whole goal, is to get more people aware of what's going on, because down here, like education, I mean, my friend's son is in school, and his teacher hasn't showed up all year. And I'm like, well, what does he do? And she's like, they give him YouTube classes from YouTube. And I'm like, really? Like,
that's not
education. Yeah,
that's where your taxes are going.
Well, and
that's where your taxes are going.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we're teaching our kids. Like, why are we letting corporations teach our children? That is absolutely insane. And I feel like if more people knew that, and knew like the history, like with what you guys are doing and what Allison talks about, I mean, I think they would have a lot more of a say, and they would care a whole lot more if they were educated on it. And it's just like, that's why I love you guys, because your show, like, it's so great. Like, I think I found you guys through Allison.
Okay.
And Allison, and then Jason, and all of them, and I saw a book of ours, and the first one I heard was about art and how we need artists and stuff. And I was like, I totally agree with that, because now, it's like, it kind of feels like they don't really care about it anymore. And artists aren't really, and it's a shame. And like, that's what I started watching your videos. I think it was the deconstruction model that you guys put up. That was awesome. That was like,
Thanks.
It was an amazing video. Because it helped me understand more, even like what was going on. And I was like, wow, That's why Broward and Miami and Palm Beach, where I'm at, they're all colluding together and, signing on to these sustainability workshops that, are funded by all these billionaire people. And it's kind of like, this is what's to come if we don't speak up about it. So
Right.
that's why.
Exactly.
Well, the thing about the art, we just saw an interview yesterday on Chris Hedges' show with a cartoonist who does like political cartoons, but he also does like, what is that? Like graphic novels?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the very same thing about how, the importance of the arts in translating ideas and translating concepts, especially at a time of revolution or at a time of the need for activism, right? And he was focusing on the old, like the post World War II generation of activists on the left, especially, and talking about how the arts and the creativity that came out of that period really helped gel ideas or get ideas across to people so that they understood more like why it was important for workers to organize in order to get better pay and benefits and things like that. So it reminds me of,
I'm sorry, it reminds me of like how comedy is going right now. Like there's like a lot of comedians that are really funny, but they're being really stupid because of politics. And it's like, we need them to call out the ridiculousness, you know what I mean? Like, and some of them do, but then they get canceled. And it's like, like we kind of need the arts to come into that because I feel like more people would be open to that. And it's like, it sucks kind of seeing it just not grow or not. Yeah,
I agree. Well, so that's something that we're, focusing on.
That's, so we're glad that, the videos that we make and the video essays that we curate have reached somebody like you. And then, so, I want to transition into talking more about what brought you to your decision, because it's one thing. So let me just be, very honest here. I look at your Facebook page. You live in a beautiful area of the country. You've got friends. You've got, probably people you're dating. You're young and you should be enjoying life. You shouldn't have to, you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to save the world. I
know. I was laughing so hard the other day when you did your live and you were like, what is she doing? Like, she's addressing her commissioner. She should be out. I'm like, I know. But
yeah, you should be having fun in life. You're young. You're at the prime of your life, and it's one thing for, people like, say, Allison, who, a little bit of an older generation, or people like us, where we're a little more cynical. But, your generation doesn't deserve this. I mean, honestly, you guys do not deserve this fascism. And that's what's happening.
I think though that, I think going back to your comment about, needing to educate people where you live, I think that's all over the country. And I think what's been happening too much is that we've all been taught that we don't have to take action, that we don't have to participate. And I think that, now a lot of heavy lifting is required from everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas if we all had been participating all along, it wouldn't be as bad as it is right now. And I think that's, there's something to that.
What we would like to do is just very quickly, we have the clip of you addressing the commissioners. So we'd like to incorporate that into this broadcast right now to let people see what exactly it is that we're talking about. Our audience may not be familiar with what you did. So tell us again what day it was, and then we'll play the clip.
I believe it was the 8th or the 11th of March.
Okay.
So pretty recent.
Pretty recent.
Yeah, very recent, at my Palm Beach County Commissioners meeting.
Okay.
All right. Let me roll that.
We're going to roll it.
And let it play.
So I'm hearing a lot about SDGs, sustainability goals, and I just want to bring up who exactly this will be beneficial to. My friend has a son who is in school right now in person, and he is still using a laptop on the screen hours a day, and teachers that are supposed to be teaching him are not showing up to class. This push for online education is not by accident. This is by design. All these things that you guys are signing into for the kids when it comes to education, I think you should really look a little bit harder at them and see what it's actually for. They use all these buzzwords like equity, inclusion, shining star student. These deals and the money that you are taking from these private companies allows private corporations to teach and engineer our economy Soviet Union style. So when DeSantis says that he's standing up to big tech, I'm not exactly sure how he is. Eventually, what their end game is to basically put everyone on blockchain, so the hedge fund managers and big tech companies can invest in your kids and bet on their future success. We will be living in a panopticon of surveillance where we'll be receiving tokens or programmable money. Social impact investing is defined as a virtue washing program that entails gambling on theory managing impoverished people and degraded natural systems. Human capital bond markets are financial instruments and privatized tech-driven social welfare systems that compel recipients to perform life on prescriptive data-generated pathways of self-improvement. Outcomes are weighed and measured against standardized metrics for success. Bonds can be securitized, creating opportunities for financiers to bet for or against compliance of the poor. So private corporations making deals with local governments and then directing what those governments do by Mussolini is defined as fascism. If this education takeover is really for equity and inclusion, then why are they only doing this among the middle class and the poor people, specifically minorities? I also wanted to read something from Alison McDowell. She's an independent researcher. As a mother who has been researching innovative finance, emerging technologies, and racialized power, I also know there is more to the story than is being told by the media. And so today I will outline how powerful interests are using the Sustainable Development Goals to mask their plans to remake the world as a digital panopticon. What follows is a story of social entrepreneurship, greed, and technological authoritarianism. Its foundations are built on our nation's history of racial capitalism, eugenics, and the rise of technocracy. So now we find ourselves in the doorstep of the fourth industrial revolution, where robots and algorithms are poised to take over many jobs. The finance
Thank you, ma'am. Your time has expired.
Wow.
Wow, that's right.
He didn't even let me finish.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he did not even let you finish.
And he was like,
Nope.
you know, and
Yeah,
I love
your time's expired. Cut.
cut
Wow.
next.
Wow.
I love the mask too. That's
So cringy to
that's
watch
awesome.
it, but it's so cringy to rewatch yourself. But yeah, like
Yeah.
Well, let me make sure that we're back on. I just want to make sure that we're back on.
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
are.
okay,
Yeah,
there we are.
Yeah.
So one of the things, coming from having a bit of a theater background and coming from this kind of aesthetic place, first of all, I want to commend you on having something prepared. When you're talking about the sort of the ins and outs of addressing your municipality or addressing your commissioners, is a lot of people show up and they kind of ramble and they don't know, they have an idea of what they want to say, but they don't have anything rehearsed. Sometimes at times I've even fallen into that trap
Sure, yeah.
where I think I'm going to show up and I know exactly what I'm going to do. And then I'm just like, So I want to commend you for that. Did you write that yourself? Did someone help
I did.
you? Wow.
I called it. It was like I am so bad at like if I have to go and make a speech, like I am terrible at planning it. So like I end up always doing it like the day before, so I don't overthink it, because like I constantly overthink everything, and I'm like, no, that sounds stupid. I have to take that out. And then I called. I think it was Lynn Davenport, and I was like, can you talk to me? I'm on my way to commissioner's meeting. I'm freaking out. She's like, why? I'm like, I don't, like, that's a huge topic to threat for 3 minutes. Like, how am I going to fit this in there? And she was just like, well, talk about, like, what is going on, like, specifically in your county. And, like, I know they've been partnering with Dell and like all these, giant corps. So I was like, I'll just it was kind of difficult. So I kind of took, like, I asked Allison if I could quote her. And so that helped a lot. And but I appreciate you saying that, because I was like totally like worried about it. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to sound stupid or not, but I'm just going to go for it, try it. I feel like I'm better like that, though. I feel like I do better when I'm on the spot, kind of.
Right.
And it comes from my heart. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Did any of the commissioners or any of the council people afterwards say anything to you at all about what you had said?
It's really crazy, because everybody else that speaks, they usually, like, they'll be like, thank you for your comments, blah, blah, blah. And they'll let them finish their 30 seconds, But for me, I was like the only person besides somebody else who was also calling him out. He didn't give me any response. None of the commissioners even spoke to us. And now, since I can't walk into the actual building where they're at, I'm behind a screen. And what they do is they just, the screen goes completely blank. So I'm like,
they just cut you off.
The reaction. Wow. And so I had to go back and watch the whole video on Palm Beach County's meeting thing that they put up, and they did not even acknowledge it. And I was like, you know what? That's how you know I struck a nerve, because like they won't even say anything to me.
Right. Exactly.
Wow. Crazy.
So one thing that I wanted to bring up is I don't know if you're familiar with her, but Naomi Wolf. Okay, she was the former speechwriter for Al Gore during the Clinton administration, back 30 years ago. She did something similar to what you did. And she said, I would like to address my local small town commissioners about a project that is in the works, a big construction project. And what she discovered by doing this is that they were answering to corporate interests. They were not answering to like municipal interests. And she was able to say, I need to see the municipalities' plans and construction layout over these projects that you have in mind. All you're showing me is a very cute little corporate report.
Right.
Like, so this is not
like a brochure. Or
this is not democracy.
Right.
This is a corporate report. So it would be really interesting if, people could start behaving like you and behaving like Naomi and getting these corporate reports and saying, I didn't vote for this. I didn't have a say in this. And who's getting paid?
Complete fascism. And I always joke about Antifa, because I'm like, we could use like the real ones right now calling this stuff out. Like when corporations are controlling the government, or vice versa, like you said with the NDAs and everything, like I didn't really understand what that meant at first until you guys did that show, and I was like, wow, like that totally makes sense, like to what's going on, like to why they don't care about us, because they're already paid off. And like democracy is not, like whatever party you vote for, I don't think anybody would be happy with that, and like I feel like they do a lot of that. They try to divide us with the left, right, paradigm.
Yeah, I hear us.
Yeah.
So
and even it's just the whole Antifa thing, where it used to be something else than it is now.
Right.
Now it's been been
totally
compromised. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not at all what.
Yeah. It's and even down to the whole black bloc tactics and everything. It's pretty ridiculous. So, did you? We're talking about. So the I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but
that's okay.
I did want to find out how you found out about Allison,
right? And
where her writings and her activism has come into play with your life.
Okay, so I've always been an advocate for women and children and trafficking people, and I've spoken out about that for a long time. Maybe I think it's been 7 or 8 years. And so I've always been kind of involved, but I don't have a television, so I don't watch TV. I barely followed politics like that because I hate it. And so when everybody started, like freaking out about, Trump and all this crap, and I started digging into more things, I was like, what is going on? And I've went through so many podcasts, so many people, so many, YouTube people, and I've just been searching. And I think I came along, I think it was Jason Bosch's channel. And I was like, oh my God, like, finally, like I found like a great freaking channel, you know what I mean? Like that is just filled with good people. Like I think it was Corey Morningstar, and then I found Allison. And after I found Allison, I was like, whoa, because she takes it to like I don't even know, like a whole different level. I was like, holy crap. Like I had no idea how ridiculously planned out this was. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know how planned out it was. And I always like, I've known like about big tech and the corruption, and I've never ordered from Amazon. I've tried to stay away from that. And when Allison was out, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And then I found Lynn, and then I found you guys, and so it was
it was through.
I find it interesting that, Corey Morningstar is not so good on video, but her writing is, like Allison's videos, right?
Right. So you've got,
it's really dense. It's hard to get through, but there's a lot there.
Right. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, we were just going to say that we were reading Corey Morningstar like long before, the whole COVID
thing happened.
So we were pretty much focused on her, and was it Winter Oak?
Yeah,
Winter Oak, which is a publication that we also follow. So, and then we were introduced to Allison through other means.
Yeah, we got there through some channel. Yeah.
Speaking of Greta Thunberg, or however you say her last name, that one was amazing, and I was like, wow, and she has so much, like she is impeccable with, everything she does. She's meticulous. Like you can break that down, try to fact check that. You know what I mean? Like she's got it all, and I love that.
Well, I mean, it's really, what I recently JP said to me, I think I'm just going to get rid of my LinkedIn account, and I said, don't you dare, because all you have to do with anything in life is go to a person's LinkedIn page, and then you can see who they're affiliated with. And it's very easy. And, you can't argue with that. They're making it really obvious that they're working with foundations that are, rolling out these pretty fascist policies that are, everything from taking away people's rights to, pretending that, sustainability goals means equity or equality when they don't really. What they mean is enslavement for all. So, it's a pretty simple leap of logic to just be able to say, well, who funds you? Who backs you? Where do you get your money? And boom, there's your answer. So,
Well, Julie found some tweets from Corey a while ago, and that they were what we based our first animation on Greta, the Greta sales video.
We have some cartoons.
So it's that we did, and so when you were saying her work surrounding Greta, that's what inspired us to do that particular video. So it's cool that you find people. Find people like that who inspire you to go out and do those other things.
Right.
And so my question is, have you found people in your community that you've been working with, have they been now taking, the flame from you and like working along the same lines, do you feel?
Yeah, see, a lot of the people I feel like are stuck in the statism, kind of like they're either on the right or the left. And so I've tried to be the person that kind of broadly covers everything, because a lot of them speak about the mask, they speak about the loss of our rights, and I think that's important. Like, that's not, it's really important. But I mean, I think we have to incorporate all of this, because I feel like when they see the bigger picture and they see how they're using sustainability goals as a cover for it, that's how I think more people will come together. Because when I thought of sustainability, like I agree with sustainability, like I try to grow my own food. I have a garden and I have, it's Florida down here, so the weather is perfect. And so it's like, I try to be sustainable, but when they're using it, it's totally not what it really means. And I feel like they have a lot of people fooled, and a lot of my liberal friends, like they care about the environment, and like if they actually knew what these things were, I don't think they would be on for this. But like, I mean, right now it's just kind of it's kind of insane right now, but it's just we have to find that balance, and like that's what I'm trying to bring to the meeting, is like touching on more of that side so that more people will be interested, because I feel like if you come across from the mask point of view, they already have the anti-masker Karen stereotype, so it's like you're kind of going to hit a wall right away if you do that. But if you come from a different approach, like what I tried to take, I think maybe we would find more people that would be interested in it, and that's pretty much what I tried to do. But we have like a good group of people that show up at these meetings. They're I think they're my age. Most of them are a little older, but we have a lot of people right now that are speaking out and fighting this stuff. So I have a good group of people that are active in that sense, and just going to try to keep building it. Yeah,
that's great.
Speaking of Florida, where you live, we hear conflicting stories about how, locked down or opened up Florida really is. So you live, is it Palm Beach County? Is that your county that you're in? So what's it like there for you personally?
Personally, for me, I'm okay, but there's like I was going to start, like I'm into orchids and all of that, and I wanted to open a business like right before, it was literally like November, right before all of this hit. And so I didn't get to do that, but they've been waiting on my stupid certificates and everything from the county, and like they'll never get to me. But it's been, North Florida and the West Coast and like the more Republican voters, like those areas, they are free. But if you come down here to Broward or Palm Beach or Miami or even Orange County, where my friend Tara lives, they are still we can't even go to their meetings. Like right now, they're doing the same thing to us that they did to Broward. What Broward County did is they said, we're not going to have in-person commissioner meetings anymore. We're going to do it all virtually. So now, you have to call in, and it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, they're all sitting up there, and like you'll catch them without their masks and everything, and people will have to call in and say their comment over the thing, and then they're done. Right. And then some of them, like Orange County, they were reading the comments that you would email in, and then they were like, I think it was right after my friend Tara had emailed them a comment that she wanted them to read about, making people stand up and blah, 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 like they have to read it. Well, they said, well, we're done reading the public comments, which violates its own policy. So it's like...
They violated their own policy.
Oh, that's classic.
That is classic. Yeah.
Classic. They do this all the time. And it's like, these people, some of them don't care about the counties that are closed. And DeSantis, it's so funny because everybody's like, oh my God, DeSantis, I love him. Like, and I'm just kind of like, where is he?
Exactly.
I mean, come on, like people, like you have to hold them higher than that. I'm so tired of like people saying, oh, well, because he's Republican and because, he does this, he does that. What is he actually doing? Because you cannot you need to hold these people to a high standard. This is why are where we are, is because we let it go, we ignored it, and now they're doing whatever they want. And like DeSantis said that we're standing up to big tech. I don't see that happening, especially when
that's not happening.
That's not happening at all.
Taking our schools, they are putting in 5G everywhere. I mean, they don't care about the effects for the population or the effects on the environment. They haven't looked into that, and so it's like not really standing. This is all. It's like it's all theater. And so a lot of people get distracted and caught up in that. And I'm like, well, why don't you drive down to our counties? Because you can't go anywhere without a mask. People are getting arrested. People are getting thrown out of stores. they are getting, of course it's a trespassing charge because they can't charge you for nothing that isn't law. And so it's like, it's not really free like you say it is. And
Right. Okay.
it's a huge, like, it's free where the local governments are more laid back and they're not, signed on to these crazy plans. But the more Democrat cities, I think it's more Democrat cities, they're very, very locked down. And like, even, I was driving the other day and it's just like seeing so many businesses closed. It really, it bothers me because it's like, we didn't need to do that, like you
At
just
all.
No.
At all.
destroyed so many people's lives and they're not, then you have the mayor spending money with his friend that he got because he donated to him. So it's just like,
Yeah.
and so I hope that clears that up because it's really not that great.
Okay, so that is a really interesting analysis because what we're seeing, in other social media platforms, like if you were to go to Twitter right now and type in the search box Florida, you would think that it is this utopian society where everything is open. You've got people flooding, leaving, San Francisco to move to Florida, and it's free, and nobody's wearing a mask, and clearly that's not the case.
That's not the case, no.
Clearly, what you're experiencing in your area of Florida and many other counties in Florida is not at all what they're claiming.
Right. We have a friend in St. Pete, and she was reflecting what you were saying.
Right. So St. Petersburg, Florida. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and we've been to Orange County in that area, but we haven't been there for a long time, so we had no idea what it was like right now.
Right.
Like my friend Tara says, like people that live in Florida that don't care, you should care because a lot of jobs come from Orange County. I mean, that's where Disney World is. That's where there's a lot of industries up there. And so it affects our entire state. And same with Palm Beach and, all the cities like that. They're important. And I wish we had more people that were supportive of that and, that spoke up to our mayors and our commissioners and tried to let our governor know because, we've showed up to a few events where our governor was and, we had our little signs and everything, reopen Florida, and like he, ignored us completely and just got into his car. It's not like like if you see, I don't watch the news, but Fox News, I guess, had Ron DeSantis on bragging about how everybody's coming down here and all. And like that may be the case, but I mean, I wish he would tell the mayors to, I wish he would end the state of emergency because that's basically, we all know they're doing it for money, but he would end the state of emergency and the emergency powers, they wouldn't be able to do this. And so, but good luck with,
Right. Well, it's by being in the state of emergency that they qualify for the funding. So once the state of emergency lifts, and this is kind of a legal loophole, so not only are you allowed to, suspend the rule of law and suspend constitutional and civil rights protections, but you're also, opened up for funding. That's why you have, especially, Allegheny County, just to give you a brief indication of where we come from and where we now live. I was thinking about it. So, our position from the very beginning of this is that San Francisco is like the fascist model by which the entire globe will be modeled after. It's a few billionaires that are controlling everything.
I agree with that.
So we came from this kind of bizarre utopia fascist city, and we then moved to one of the most oppressive counties and oppressive cities in the country, which we also feel is the model. There's so much poverty
the model
here.
For what they want it to be.
Right. So what you have is generational privilege, through the banking industry and through the tech industry in San Francisco. And that what you have here in Allegheny County or Pittsburgh is generational poverty and generational oppression. So we went from one extreme to the other.
Right. But at the same time, there's also like generational, I don't want to call it leadership, but like, top down organization where, you have old families, like the Hines family is here, the Carnegie and Mellon, all these old family names are all based here.
Right.
And, you know, the Heinz family is associated with, what's his name? The politician, John Kerry, right? He married into the Heinz family.
Right.
You know,
So,
and all these foundations that you know, disseminate.
He was a former Secretary of State.
Right. Yeah. And he ran for president at one point too.
Right.
But, you know, they disseminate these policies and funding and things like that out to the NGOs and the nonprofits, the third space. And so these ideas and this oppressive concepts and policies get disseminated out from these large family, old money families through their foundations.
Right.
And so what we found is in San Francisco, it was new money billionaires from the tech sector, you know, doing a lot of stuff. And then here we have the old money family, you know, foundations also doing similar things. You know, they are also supporting the sustainable development goals and things of that nature.
Right.
But what we have here is a hollowed out shell of a community that was killed in NAFTA in the 90s. And it's just been kind of like just trudging along since then.
Right. So, you know, we often say that, like, look, we've seen it from both ends, and we're, you know, we don't want to be the Cassandras and always just warning people of, you know, what's to happen and being ignored. But I think that we can start to see a shift in policy, a shift in democracy, a shift in our economy and culture. You know,
I have a friend that lives in Pittsburgh. He lives in Braddock, and he said that he's starting to see the gentrification happen, and he's starting to see, you know, I mean, it's a very poor area where he comes from, and he, you know, he's like, he sees it a lot, and I think that's like something that people overlook, and it's like they're building, you know, all these nice new homes for who? You know, it's not go to those people. And I mean, down here, like, they're doing it everywhere, but down here, they're basically letting our Everglades dry up so that the rich can move in there. And it's like, you know, what the hell's going on? You know, I mean, the people in the county get overlooked all the time. And it always falls back to those few, and they control it all. And it's just crazy.
You know, with the idea of the letting the Everglades dry up. I mean, this has happened in the past when they were draining the Everglades, you know, generations ago, for farming, and they found that it caused a big, huge environmental crisis in your state. You know, and so then they started reclamating all that again. So what kills me is these people that are, you know, that are pushing for these policies to do things like, you know, allow the Everglades to dry up. But at the same time are saying, oh, but we have to be sustainable. Oh, you know, carbon.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly my thing. Is like, you know, Ron DeSantis, he ran off of that, keeping our water clean, you know. But then when it came time, you know, he chose big sugar, and they choose the corporations, which they're killing. You know, like my friend, my other friend, he goes fishing a lot, and he found a dead manatee, and when he called, they said it's been like 400 or something. Some ridiculous number has died because, you know, they're hungry and they're killing our water, they're killing our wildlife, and they're emptying out all these chemicals into the water. And then, you know, like, they're talking about sustainability. Like, these are the same people. You know? Like,
the same people.
Yeah. And Bill Gates, I think, is coming here next to open a palm oil field. And I'm like,
oh God,
we don't do that, you know, like, come on. And like, you can't let these people sell you on sustainability. If you look at their track record, you would know what they're doing is a total lie, and it's just a rebranding, you know, of capitalism, the garbage that they're doing. It's just completely bullshit, you know.
Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour, and I wanted to just really thank you for sort of taking it to the next level. Like I said before at the beginning of this, it's one thing to just, be online and, sort of keyboard warrioring your way through this thing, but it's quite another to take it to the next step and to know that you've done this multiple times and that you're becoming quite a regular in front of your commissioners. They're like, oh, there she is again.
God, that's her, yeah.
So I hope that this conversation will reach some of those young people out there who are starting to really feel like they want to join the cause, that's why we wanted to do this, because we wanted to bridge that gap. And, just to close out here, what I think is really interesting is, you have all of the understanding that we all have, which Corey Morningstar and Allison McDowell illustrate for us so eloquently and so beautifully. So you have all of that going, but you also have another contingent that's been quite interesting, which is kind of like, I want to call it like the Peggy Hall type of contingent, where she talks about, you've got to get in front of your municipality, you've got to demand for your rights, you've got to show proof of claim for why do I need to close down my business or wear a mask, so what you did is you brought the two of these ideas and concepts together, which is really
I tried.
Yeah,
I tried because I watch Peggy, I watch you guys, I watch Allison, Corey, all of them. I've been through hundreds of people, and the group that we have now, I feel is like really amazing because, I'm so grateful for it, because we're real people that are actually fighting, and we're trying, and we're pushing this out there. And I was like, I have to bring this to the meetings, because it's all about fighting back. Like locally, we have to fight back, and if more people, join in and we do this together and they go to the meetings, and I'll help people if they need help. I'll be more than happy to help. But we have to start addressing them, and we have to know our rights and know the law and see what they're doing, because once you see it, you realize it's fascism and actual fascism, and it's like, this isn't okay. And so I love Peggy too. She's good for educating people on that.
Yes.
Right.
I think that, I just also wanted to say that, there's a lot of people who become really frustrated. They go out and they do all of this activism, and, I often think about what somebody might say in 25 years from now, when they go through the old records and they see that Brandi Ann stood in front of the commissioner and said all these things. It's the future that's going to look back on us and say, what did you do? What did you do to keep this from happening?
I posted some memes.
And some people are like, well, I posted some memes. And then you've got the artists who are making the movies and the videos. And then you've got the activists, so everybody needs to start thinking about, starting to think about how the future is going to look back on us. And the future will not be so kind to those who either went along with this or didn't do anything.
Right.
That's the big thing. So it's just what our children are going to pay for this. And, I have my friend Melanie had her son taken away from her because she was not wearing a mask in a Facebook picture. So this is going on. That's happened in Broward County, Florida. If that's happening here, this is going to happen everywhere. And we can't allow this to happen, because our children are going to pay for this. And they're going to, wake up one day and wonder, why hasn't anybody spoken out? Why is this going on? And, I think what you said is really important, because we have to come and speak about this, because one day they're going to wonder why.
Right.
Yeah.
And, there will be records of all of this. I mean, they can't destroy everything. Not everything can get wiped down the memory hole. There will be plenty of records for, future generations to go back and look at and say, wow, these people really tried. Where was everybody else?
Right.
So.
Well, what advice do you have then for people who are in other places that, are not part of your group, but are inspired by you and your group and others that are out there, what sort of advice do you have?
I would say go for it. I would say figure out what is most important to you, what speaks to your heart, and what you have a problem with, and then don't be afraid of them because they work for us. We pay their salary. Remember that, and remember that you have a right to go and voice your opinion and what you believe in. And I think it empowers people when you do that, because I know that people have said that to me before, like that I've inspired them, and I feel like it's a good feeling when you know that you're trying to fight the system and trying to make it so that you actually have, so other people have their rights. Because I feel like people will get, I got afraid the first time I went, I got really nervous because, the sheriffs, were trying to intimidate us there, but I went for it anyway, and I did it anyway, and it felt good after I did it. And so I would say just go for it.
The software that they are going to use to handle the influx of adverse reactions. Also, an alarming thing is Pfizer in the past was also fined billions of dollars for killing or the cover-up of 11 children who died during illegal drug trials. So I think our concerns are valid. I'm extremely appalled at how the media, who claims to support minorities, are ignoring a controversial key player in this. Palantir, who is known for being biased and violent to minority communities, they're a tech company that goes after immigrants. But now, they are one of the deciding key factors of who will receive this vaccine, this experimental vaccine first. Coincidentally, they've decided that minorities should receive it first, as well as other vulnerable populations. It's worth pointing out that Palantir also has ties to eugenics societies that was later renamed the Galton Institute. That's not a lie, you can look it up. So I'm wondering, where are the people that claim that they care about minorities? Where are they? And how are we going to make sure that places like the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and Ghislaine Maxwell's sister that works over there and a handful of Silicon Valley billionaires, how are we going to make sure that they do not destroy our jobs and create an autonomous economy like they would like? Or to live under a panopticon of surveillance. I'm hoping that we can get some data privacy laws started and also address human trafficking.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time has expired.
I just have one paragraph left.
Unfortunately, I can't grant you more time because I'd be treating you differently than everyone else. So unfortunately, your time has expired.
You gave that one guy a minute.
Unfortunately, your time has expired.
I just want to say that, officers, you took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. Nowhere does it say to enforce laws, and certainly does not say
you're now
to
deliberately
enforce
interfering with the proceedings
orders.
of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm asking the Sheriff's Office to remove her unless I'm overruled by 4 members of this board, and you're not to return for 24 hours.
You need to start respecting
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Your time has expired. For 24 hours, you're not to return to this chamber, ma'am. And then our last
Don't be afraid. Even if you mess up, it doesn't matter. You can always go back and do it at the next meeting too. And write, I would write a few things down on what you want to talk about, and remember that you only have 3 minutes. So try to hit the most things that are the most important to you, or that you think the community would care about. And that's another thing. I wouldn't go for those people working, like the commissioners and mayors, because I don't think it really matters that much to them, but it does matter to the community. And the more people that you reach, the more inspired they will be. And then if we have enough people, then they will have to start changing their ways.
Yeah.
I think, that's interesting that you say that too. I think it also makes people more comfortable with the idea of doing that, of speaking out.
Right.
Because, like you said, the politicians don't care. They're in the back pocket of whatever corporation or corporations, and they're fine with fascism because it benefits them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But I think if you get people to get on board and get those opinions out there and get like I said before, getting the groups of people rather than the individuals, you have more sway and more opportunity to make a difference in how that information is disseminated and what ears it reaches after a period of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Because even though, we're very cynical about the voting process, I think even at the local level, though,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily promote representative democracy, but there's still, even at the local level, there's still something that can be done. They do pay attention to those numbers.
Right. They'll feel the pressure,
I would say that I'm the same way. I don't really like the idea of someone representing me or a whole bunch of people. I think it's kind of like, crazy, but that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we can live outside of the system. We could try to do, like gardens and stuff. Like you guys, like what you guys did was like amazing. Like I wish people would have cared about that, because that's, like that's really awesome that people are doing that. And that's what we need is, we have to work together. And, these people, like, they don't care about us. And if we could all move past, especially the labels, like, I'm so tired of like, the left or the right, we have to just forget that, because at the end of the day, they're both golfing together.
Right.
They're both hanging out, like they don't care. And so it's up to us to fight it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your channel too, because you guys are awesome in explaining this stuff. Like you really break it down, and on an artistic level too. Like, I think it affects a lot of people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you for joining us today. I think that really is a good place to close.
Yeah, I think so
close
too.
It out.
So, Brandi, we'll take the screen and close out, and then we'll come back to you after we end the broadcast.
Okay. So don't go anywhere.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. So. That was very cool. Glad we got a chance to talk to her, because we've been watching her progress, and we saw the video, and I hope if you're on Facebook, obviously you are because you're watching us, right? You can
check out Brandi.
Yeah, check out Brandi and friend her. Do friend requests and do those kinds of things. And follow what she's up to with her activism, and some of these other people out there. If you haven't heard about Peggy Hall, check her out. Allison McDowell,
Corey Morningstar, all sorts of people.
There's lots of people out there,
us.
And us, of course. us, but we also have connections to other people. So see who we're connected to as well, and it's all about numbers, and it's all about us communicating, and I think that's the most important thing. And Brandi brought this up a lot, and I agree with this 100%. The left-right divide is no longer applicable.
No,
because we found that a lot of our comrades are doing things that we just don't agree with. And people who we used to disagree with politically are in our board camp. Yeah, they're in our camp. So,
they get it.
So we all need to start thinking about this in much different ways. And I love what Brandi said about it affects us all.
Right, it really does.
It really does. So all right, well, thank you for joining us all.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you at the next bookmark, which is a week from today.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see you then, and we'll talk to you again later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Book of Hours are artists here to empower and embolden your response to the constant negative sound bites that attack your news and social media feeds. In order to continue making the video essays and art you've come to enjoy, we need your support. Make a one-time donation or become a patron. Thank you.